My name is Larissa Hart, and I'm a wife, mom of a 9-month-old baby boy here named Noah, and I'm also an esthetician. And today's video is 5 tips that I believe helped me regulate my cycle when I was trying to conceive. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey with fertility, and then we'll jump into the 5 tips because I think it'll kind of help you understand why I believe these 5 tips can help you. So in 2018, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, we were planning a wedding, and we were also planning a move from Atlanta, Georgia to Orlando, Florida. And on top of everything, we decided that we also wanted to, at that time, try and conceive for our first child. 3 months after trying to conceive, we did get pregnant, but that pregnancy ended in an ectopic pregnancy. Hold on 1 second. There we go. I'll put you here. You got it? You got it? There we go. Sorry about that. And after that ectopic pregnancy, I went full in and I researched everything TTC. Hold on 1 second. He's gonna make you guys shake. I researched everything TTC. I watched hundreds of YouTube videos, purchased hundreds of dollars worth of ovulation tests, and nothing was happening. 2 years after we first started to try and conceive, we became pregnant after we had decided that we weren't going to try anymore. We were going to go ahead with the process of IVF. And I just started to do different things to prepare my body for IVF. And we became pregnant naturally January 2020. So we'll start with number 5. Number 5 is I gained weight. When I first met my husband in 2015, I had just lost 40 pounds. I went from 170 pounds to 130 pounds. And my height is, I'm 5'5". So me being 130 pounds, I was like smack dead in my BMI when I cared about, BMI. And I thought, wow, this is the most healthiest weight for me. This is the most healthiest weight for me, and I'm at the most healthiest I've ever been because I'm so thin at this time. It should be no problem conceiving. But unfortunately, that was not the case. Losing those 40 pounds and being so thin, I noticed once I started to track my cycles, I had 3 different period trackers that I used, and my cycles were terribly irregular. They would last anywhere from 27 days to 39 days. And even though I was using ovulation tests, it was extremely hard to make sure that we were having enough intimate time in our fertile window since it was all over the place. I couldn't know, I couldn't expect, hey, I'm gonna get my cycle on the 14th or 15th, maybe even 16th. It would be like, I could get my cycle on the 21st day, or I could get it on the 9th. It was all over the place. Once I gained weight, by January 2020, when we conceived our son, I had gained back about 36 of the 40 pounds that I had originally lost, and I was 164 pounds at the time. And I believe having a little bit of more weight on me definitely helped, because around this time that I gained this weight, by the time I was 164 pounds, my cycle became more regular. It wasn't on the 14th or the 15th every month, but it was 14, 15th of my ovulation days. So it was a lot more regular than it was when I was 40 pounds lighter. So I definitely think that helped. And then we're gonna go ahead and go into tip number 4. I stopped intermediate fasting. Now, if you don't know what intermediate fasting is, I did pull up the definition from Healthline. I had it up. Well, I'll go ahead and get into the video. I don't know where I moved that at. I can't believe I didn't have it up. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. Here we go. Intermediate fasting is an eating pattern where your cycle between periods of eating and fasting. And so I wasn't intentionally intermediate fasting. I'm somebody that did not like breakfast at all, so I would only eat lunch and dinner. So I would wait maybe sometimes till maybe noon to like 3 o'clock before I actually ate. And when I did, it would only be 1 to 2 meals. I didn't know at the time, intermediate fasting can definitely cause you to have irregular cycles. So losing a lot of weight, not having enough weight on me, and then also intermediate fasting, I think it just drove my cycles bonkers. I was all over the place. So I would definitely talk to your doctor, and I would definitely stop intermediate fasting if that's something that you're currently doing and you are experiencing irregular cycles. And I will say, starting off, I should have said this at the beginning, always speak to your doctor about all of these things, especially when it comes to weight loss, weight gain, intermediate fasting, or anything health related. But these are definitely things that you should talk to them about. And I'm pretty sure your doctor will know a little bit about, especially your OBGYN, about how these things can affect the regularity of your cycle. So number three, I stopped doing intense workouts or intense cardio, HIIT cardio. I stopped doing intense HIIT cardio and I went to more moderate exercise. At the time where I lost the weight and when we were trying to conceive, I would exercise 5 days a week, and there would be an hour to an hour and a half every day of those 5 days. And they were HIIT cardio. I'm sorry, you guys. My son is like, hold on. You want to play with something quieter so mommy can finish the video? There we go. Sorry, I try to do it when he naps. It's not working. He wants to be in this video. He wants you guys to hear him. So I was doing it 5 days a week. Everything's happening right now. So I would work out 5 days a week, an hour to an hour and a half, every day those 5 days. And it was always extremely intense cardio, because I thought, I need intense cardio in order to lose the weight, and then I needed intense cardio to maintain the weight, which now I know is completely not true. And I wouldn't say stop exercising, especially if you're trying to stay healthy or you want to be more healthy, but moderate. I've learned now that it's not about how long your exercises are. It's just the fact that you're actually putting the effort to exercise. When I conceived our son in January 2020, I started to only exercise 4 days out of the week, and it was 30 minutes max. I would not go over 30 minutes, and I felt better. I wasn't as tired, and I was still moving around and doing a lot of things at that time, but I can definitely say I was much happier with my journey of health when I wasn't killing myself with an hour to an hour and a half of cardio 5 days a week. So the next one, here we go. Number 4. This one's a hard one because it was extremely hard for me to do this, and it paid off in the long run, and now I'll never do it again, or I'll never go back to what it was. I stopped using ovulation tests, and I stopped timing intimacy. So, hello, you want to join the video? Say hi. I will never go back to using ovulation tests or timing intimacy because it is extremely stressful, and I didn't find it to be beneficial at all. Now, I do know that there are a lot of videos out there where people say, hey, if you want to get pregnant fast, use ovulation tests. It's great. You know when you're ovulating, this, that, and the other. But for me, it was really, really stressful. I still track my cycle, but instead of doing it through ovulation tests, I use the app. And if you are experiencing irregular cycles, it will be hard to do that. I believe that's why it's important to try. Camera died. I was saying, I think it's important to regulate your cycle if you can, or try to, because it's going to be very stressful. And maybe not for you, but for many people, for me, it was stressful. And so I say tip number 4, don't worry about timing intimacy. don't worry about ovulation test. Relax, which is like the most cringy thing when you're trying to conceive, because so many people told me to relax and it drove me mad. But it's true. The month I wasn't worried about it, I was like, hey, I'm gonna do IVF. I'm gonna get pregnant no matter what. I didn't do any ovulation tests. I didn't, track every time we were intimate. We became pregnant with our son. The only thing I did track was my cycle. So keep tracking your cycle. That's important, just so you know where you are and how your cycle is. But as far as, okay, baby boy, hi. As far as, give me 1 second. Come here. Oh, there we are. As far as actually doing ovulation tests every month and going, hey, babe, it's time, I'm ovulating. I'll never do that again, and I wouldn't suggest it to anyone who's trying. So that's tip number 4. Tip number 5 is I started to add more vegetables and fruits into my diet. And I don't like to say the word diet because I don't believe in restrictions. I don't restrict myself from eating anything. The only thing that I don't consume are sodas and juices, but everything else I eat. But I started to add more fruits and veggies into my diet, and I didn't do it consciously. I was in school to become an esthetician, and it was very much about health and skin and taking care of yourself. And I decided I wanted to add more fruits and veggies into my diet, and I honestly believe it helped. And it also made it easier in some ways when I became pregnant, because when you get pregnant, you're gonna go through so many hormones, so much is gonna happen, where it's a good idea now to add in veggies and fruits that have a lot of good nutrition when you are TCCing, and I believe it helped. So those are my 5 tips for regulating your cycle when you're trying to conceive. I will say, if you do suffer from irregular cycles, you should also talk to your doctor about PCOS. When I started to notice that my cycles were very irregular after our ectopic pregnancy and we were trying to conceive, oh, this man does not want to be still. Okay, hold on. Let me tell him. I had talked to my doctor about PCOS because I had seen so many YouTubers talk about it, and they were diagnosed with PCOS, and then they were given a prescription for Clomid, and they were able to conceive. When I talked to my doctor about it, we did the blood work, and she told me that for my blood work, I was okay and that I didn't have PCOS. So from that point on, I went into other supplements that I saw YouTubers talk about. Evening primrose I tried it for 1 cycle. It was the worst cycle of my life. I do not recommend it at all. Sorry. I also tried Mica, and that I used the month that we conceived, and it was our ectopic pregnancy. So once that happened, I kind of associated it, whether it did or didn't have anything to do with it. And so for me, I say this, to make it easier on yourself, 1, talk to your doctor, look over the 5 tips that I gave, and then also stick to just a nice prenatal vitamin. There are a lot of supplements out there, a lot of supplements that people suggest, but without talking to your doctor, I wouldn't do it because of the experiences that I had. So just be cautious of all the supplements or things that people recommend in that way. I think you can't go wrong with, changing your eating for the better, whether it's adding more calories in your diet or removing them, exercising a little bit more, getting around, those kind of things. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope these can be helpful for you. I know when I was trying to conceive, I watched a ton of videos, and I never really saw anything or any videos that talked about what I discussed today. Maybe there are, I don't know. But I just wanted to get this information out because I think it can be very helpful for people who are trying to conceive. And I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.